In this video, you'll learn how to fill out the SLO Selection and Approval Form on mylearningplan.com. We'll focus on logging into My Learning Plan, filling out the form, uploading data, and then properly saving and submitting your form. The information you will enter includes your rationale for why you have set your goal, the content area, population, and interval your goal relates to, what your SLO goal is, what strategies will help you achieve your goal, and what evidence you will use to show your achievement. The first step to getting your SLO completed is to log on to mylearningplan.com. As you can see, I've been there before, and probably most of you have as well. You'll need to log in with your email account. So whatever your school email account is your login name. And many of you have already done this, but if you haven't signed in before, I believe your login password will be ChangeMe. But by now, hopefully most of you have logged in before. You know what your password is, so you'll log right in. There's several different things on the page, but the thing that we are really worried about today is this one right here, Student Learning Objective, SLO, Selection and Approval. So you click this link right here, and that will launch the form. This form is the important part. This is what we'll be working with. You can read the directions right here on your own, but we'll assume that when you sign in, you have time to read the directions yourself. So the first thing to do is specify whether or not you're going to be working individually or with a team. Some people are working together, some people are working alone, and this is where you let your supervisor know what your plan is. For mine, I plan on working with Minden Hultstrom and Mike Stonecipher. Since I don't have students of my own, their students will be my guinea pigs. So once you've determined that, that's pretty straightforward. The next 7 questions are pretty similar to each other in that they start with these guiding questions up here. Then there's a place to type. Some of your typing will be an entire paragraph. Other spots it might just be a few words. And then it wraps up with criteria. That is, things to look back on what you typed and decide whether or not that was a good idea. So I'll just do a real simple example here. 70% of the students are not proficient. You probably would write a little bit more using these guiding questions, but just so you see, that's how you type in here. If you want to change the formatting, it's just like in Microsoft Word. You can change all the formatting there. This first area, though, does have one other interesting thing we need to look at, and that is a place to add files. The point here is if you've got a spreadsheet or some other file that tells you about your data, you can upload it. So whoever your supervisor is or whoever is going to be looking at this can go back and see the data itself. So it's fairly straightforward to do. First of all, you're going to click Add a File. Then it will be similar to attaching an attachment to an email. Click this little arrow that's pointing up. It'll let you browse your computer to find the file that you want. I happen to be in my H drive right now, and I have a spreadsheet I called Practice Student Data. I double-clicked it, or you could click it and click OK. Then you want to save, and there it is. Now, if you wanted to look at it, you can simply click right there, and you'll be able to view your data. So there it is, and with my made-up spreadsheet, we have fall 2013 and the percentages our students have, and of course we could go back and add to this later in the year. If you upload data here, and you realize it's the wrong one, or you improve it and you want to change it, removing it is very simple. You just go over here to the right where there's a red circle with a white line in it, If you hover over it, it says delete file. Click that. Confirm that you want to delete it, and it goes away. That's the first box. The next few are slightly more straightforward. It's going to ask for your content area and grade level, your student population, and the interval, which is presumably 1 school year. Again, guiding questions and criteria will help you make sure you know if you're answering the right questions. Number 5 is the big important part. This is the SLO, where you will actually set your growth goal for your students for the year. While writing your SLO, it's important to remember the acronym SMART. That is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Here's a good example. During the 2013-14 school year, my 6th grade physical education students will improve performance by 20% on each of the presidential fitness test sub-areas. Anyone reading this could see there's clear parameters, we've got a set amount of time, and we understand what it is the students need to do. Once you've entered your growth goal, as you can see we did right here, you have just 2 questions left to answer. First, one regarding strategies and support, again with guiding questions to back it up. And finally, evidence, asking how you will prove that your students have made the measurable growth that you plan to have them make. The last thing to show you then is down here at the bottom. This is sort of how you interact with the form. And we'll start with the one you're most likely to use first and then move forward from there. So the first would be to save this document. So any work you've done, all you need to do is come down here to the bottom and click Save. It'll give a little bar showing that it's doing that, and it'll tell you when it is successful. If you wanted to save, but notify your supervisor or whoever will be looking at this that you have made some progress and you want them to look at it, you can click Save and Notify. So it will do the same thing, it'll save it. You can still come back in and change it, but it sends a little notification to the dashboard of the person who's supervising your growth goal that they can now look at it and give you some feedback. Once you've gotten feedback from them and you've changed everything you want to, you can come to Submit. Now I'm not going to click Submit because this is my actual form, and if I did that, I wouldn't be able to edit it anymore. And my supervisor would see it, and as you can see, I haven't filled it all out yet. So those 3 things are the 3 you really need to know. Save for while you're working on it, save and notify when you're pretty sure you're done, and submit when you've gotten the OK to turn it in for good.